My name is Serish Mustafa and I'm Senior Research Executive at Pathfinder Group. Distinguished officers, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of Pathfinder Group, it is my great honor and privilege to welcome you all to this session on governance, innovation, and national security in the age of artificial intelligence. We are especially honored to have with us the faculty members and probationary officers of the Civil Services Academy, the future leaders who will shape how Pakistan governs, innovates, and secures itself in an era of artificial intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an era in which strength of a state will be measured not only by the resources it commands, but by the speed, intelligence, and adaptability with which it governs. Artificial intelligence is fundamentally reshaping the relationship between technology, society, and the state, transforming how decisions are made, economies compete, conflicts are fought or resolved, and national security is understood. For the civil servants who will soon carry the responsibility of translating policy into governance, the challenge is therefore much larger than just learning how to use new technologies. It is to understand how AI can make governance more responsive without making it less accountable, how innovation can strengthen institutions without weakening human judgment, and most importantly, how national security can be protected in a world where power increasingly belongs to those who can turn information into insight and insight into action. This seminar is an opportunity to engage with these questions at precisely the right moment, because the future of governance depends on quality, vision, and courage of those entrusted to govern. With that, I would like to invite Air Commodore Khalid Banoori, Principal Advisor, Pathfinder Citadel, to welcome you all formally and open the session. He has 44 years of diverse experience in public service, aviation, training, education, and outreach. He has contributed significantly to national and international policy making, and has represented Pakistan on various global forums. In recognition of his outstanding contributions, the government of Pakistan has honored him with two prestigious awards, a Civil Award of Sitara Imtiaz for excellence in policy analysis and a Sitara Imtiaz Military for his dedicated services to the Pakistan Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Air Commodore Khalid Banoori.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Distinguished directors and the faculty of Civil Services Academy, officers of the 54th Common, members of the Interfaith Harmony Initiative Group, Honorable Co-Chairman of the Pathfinder Group and Senior Management, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As you know, my name is Khalid Banoori. I am the Principal Advisor to Pathfinder Citadel, and I bring about 50 years of experience in public service and military. 217 probationary officers sit in this room today. 217 men and women who, out of what is arguably the most competitive processes in this country, were chosen to run Pakistan's state machinery for the next 30 years. That's you. Let that sink in for a moment. Somewhere between the CSS examination hall and this auditorium, you crossed a threshold that most of your classmates from universities, from colleges, from your own hometowns did not. You are no longer just bright young Pakistanis. You are, as of this training cycle, the custodians in waiting of the Pakistani state. So the question I want to open with is not what will you do in the government? It's what kind of officer will the age you're entering demand of you. Because the age you are entering is not the one your seniors trained for. It's not even the one that I trained for. I come from an older generation. It's an age where the file on your desk may have been drafted in part by a machine. And the decision on it still has to be yours. Human decisions, with challenges, with pitfalls, and with consequences. That's what today is all about. So let's begin. Before we get to the seminar's themes, let me tell you where you are, because Citadel does not exist in isolation. It sits inside something larger, the Pathfinder Group, one of the Pakistan's oldest and largest private sector groups, a distinguished Pakistani conglomerate known for its strategic ventures and commitment to national development, with roots that go back to when private enterprise in this country still had to prove that it could be trusted with things that state usually keeps close. An end-to-end solution to security needs, finance, and now technology. So Pathfinder Group operates across 4 divisions, and I want to walk you through them briefly, because each one is a small case study in how a private Pakistani enterprise has tried to fill gaps that matter for national resilience, remaining true to its motto that you see here on the top, empowering challenge into opportunity. This strategy combines infrastructure, human development, and digital change. Together, these divisions just don't envision a stronger Pakistan. They actively build it, empowering every sector that they touch to rise, innovate, and thrive. By combining business success with social progress, Pathfinder Group not only shapes industries, but also plays a significant role in Pakistan's future in a challenging and a competitive world. So first, the Security Services Division. 2 companies sit here. SMS, Securities and Management Services, which handles physical security on the ground, guarding institutions, facilities, and people across this country. And Wackenhut, which specializes in secure vaults and the safe movement of cash and valuables. Between them, these 2 companies represent the largest private security footprint in Pakistan. Think about what that means. In a country where security is often framed as purely a state function, here's a private sector actor that has spent decades building trust as a security provider. Second, the Financial Services and Technology Division. 2 companies. VRG, the Virtual Remittance Gateway, aiming for revolution in digital affairs. It focuses on financial inclusion. Pakistan's first payment system operator, its electronic payment gateway enables interoperability between telecoms and banks. For the first time in Pakistan, under the Asan Mobile Account Scheme, accessible, simplified banking for people who have historically been locked out of the formal financial system, all 14 million of them. This is financial inclusion, built by the private sector, for a population where a huge share of citizens remain unbanked or underbanked. iPath, the other company, stands at the forefront of technological innovation in fintech, delivering an advanced suite of products, in health tech, electronic health record integration platform, and cloud-enabled generative AI-powered interoperability for ease of healthcare operations, and so forth. The third, Pathfinder Care Foundation. This is this group's conscience, if you like. It is the corporate social responsibility architecture. It includes Providentia Book Foundation, a non-profit promoting literacy and access to knowledge and a culture of learning among children in need. It has donated over 160,000 books across 15 cities. Elena Care, which runs cottage industry and women empowerment program through the Kashmala Family Welfare Center, providing hope, dignity, and empowerment, leading from skills to self-reliance. Elena Care further provides comprehensive benefits for both serving and deceased employees of the Pathfinder Group. And then there's Interfaith Harmony Initiative, working on one of the most under-discussed but urgent dimensions of Pakistan's social fabric, religious harmony and coexistence. It has a vision for a future where all Pakistanis, irrespective of their faith, live together in peace and harmony. And finally, the Digital Revolution Division. SMS services and SMS technologies. the entities responsible for meeting Pakistan's emerging technology needs, from digital transformation to tech-enabled services. SMS Services is the technology backbone of the division, with end-to-end digital solutions across industries: Internet of Things, cybersecurity, cloud computing, and enterprise software development. The company is a comprehensive enabler, and SMS Technologies complements this work, focusing on telecom and digital infrastructure development. It provides AI-driven optimization and reliable continuity. And now the newest member of the family is Citadel, the Center for Innovation, Technological Advancement, Digital Entrepreneurs, and Leadership. If all the other divisions of Pathfinder represent what Pathfinder does, Citadel represents what Pathfinder believes about the future. The innovation, the entrepreneurship, and leadership can no longer be treated as three separate conversations. They have to be integrated, because the problems of this decade, from AI governance to youth unemployment to national security in a digitized world, are integrated problems. Citadel is Pathfinder's answer to that integration challenge. With hubs here in Islamabad and Karachi, it is designed to be a catalyst for change. You're sitting inside an organization that has spent decades in security and finance, and now has placed a very deliberate bet that the next frontier for Pakistan is the intersection of innovation, technology, and leadership. That bet is called Citadel. There's a line that I keep thinking about from Peter Drucker: the greatest danger in times of turbulence is not turbulence. It is to act with yesterday's logic. That's the challenge that all of you will have. This is precisely the danger this seminar is designed to help you avoid. Let's talk about today: transforming leaders, governance, innovation, and national security in the age of AI. Notice the structure of that title. It's not AI and governance. It's not innovation and national security. It's three domains: governance, innovation, national security are bound together with one accelerant: artificial intelligence. That's deliberate, because increasingly in the world that you're about to serve in, these three domains are not separate portfolios. They are three lenses on the same reality. So session one will open with your director, Bilal Akram, introducing the institution that has shaped you over these past months. Useful reminder, I think, before anything else, for the institutional DNA you will carry into the government. Then three interesting tracks. First is the innovation ecosystem. Pakistan does not lack ideas or talent. Ask anyone who spent time with our startup founders or our university tech incubators. What we have historically lacked is an ecosystem: capital, mentorship, regulatory clarity, and market access, the connective tissue between a good idea and a functional enterprise. As future civil servants, many of you will at some point either regulate this ecosystem or be asked to enable it. Understanding how it actually works, not how it looks on paper, will matter more than you think. The second is skills training and employment. Pakistan's median age, as I hope you'll agree, is roughly 20 years. And that is either the greatest asset this country has ever had or the greatest challenge that it has ever faced. Go figure. Which one it becomes depends almost entirely on whether we can convert a youth bulge into a skilled, employed workforce. You will inherit ministries, departments, and districts where this exact calculus plays out in real budget lines and real unemployment numbers. The third topic that we'll be tackling in this session is leadership in the age of transformation. This one is about you directly. Leadership theory, built for a stable, predictable, bureaucratic environment, does not transfer cleanly to an environment where technology cycles are shorter than policy cycles. So the officer who will lead and leads well in 2026 needs to be comfortable with ambiguity that the officers of earlier generations rarely faced. Session 2 shifts from ecosystem level themes to Pathfinder's own lived experience. 3 of our speakers will walk you through Pathfinder's CSR and social impact work, financial inclusion and women's empowerment, and women's stability and security. I will ask you to listen to these not as corporate case studies, but as templates, because a great deal of what the state tries to achieve through policy, Pathfinder has achieved it through its operations on the ground with its own resources and its own accountability. There's something instructive in it that for all of you, you will soon be designing or implementing public policy. As we close with what I suspect will be the most animated part of the day, a panel discussion on AI governance and ethics, with 4 scholars and experts who have spent their professional lives thinking about exactly the question this seminar is built around. How does a state govern a technology that is evolving faster than the institutions meant to govern it? So I'll leave you with this thought before we begin in the earnest. Every generation of civil servants inherits a version of the same question. How do you serve a state whose challenges are changing faster than its rule book? Your seniors answered that question for the era of nationalization, then privatization, then digitization, and you will answer it for the era of artificial intelligence. There's a phrase that is often attributed to Alvin Toffler, the author of Future Shock, that I think belongs on the wall of every civil service academy. It's on the screen now. The illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. You already proved you can learn. That's how you got into this academy. Today is about unlearning and relearning. Citadel is glad to be your venue for that. And I look forward to a seminar that I hope leaves you not just informed, but genuinely unsettled in its most productive sense of the word, so that you're ready for public service that has in the past a tradition of high integrity, professionalism, and teamwork. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for this remarkable overview of today's program. It is now my pleasure to invite Mohammad Bilal Akram. He is currently serving as Director, Administration and Finance at the Civil Services Academy. He has 27 years of public service experience. He has held several key positions, including Director, External Audit, Director, Audit, Federal Government, and Control, Local Audit, Defense Services of Pakistan. Please welcome Mohammad Bilal Akram.
Honorable Co-Chairman Ikram Sehgal Sahab, Madam Mrs. Ikram Sehgal Sahiba, Khalid Banori Sahab, Brigadier Mujahid Alam Sahab, the other respected family members of the Pathfinder Group, Director PAS, my respected Senior Faisal Zahoor Sahab, my dear faculty members, and above all the 217 probationers of the 54th CTP. A very good morning to you all. Sir, as I stand here, I would really want to extend my gratitude to your good self, sir, for having us all over here today at your personal place, sir. It's a kind of gesture that you have always been extended to us, sir. Whether it is Karachi or it is Lahore, sir, you have always been warm and welcoming to us, sir. So as a matter of fact, when I was traveling to this beautiful resort, sir, DG Saab called me and he asked me to convey his deepest regards and how much he is obliged, not just at the professional level, but in his personal capacity always, for your mentorship and for your guidance, sir. So when we were in Karachi, I remember you were the first one to welcome the senior civil servants from Bangladesh, and that was the day that we started our journey. And so today is the day when we are starting this Islamabad study tour for the 54th CTP. And so as we are expecting the second batch of the Bangladeshi civil servants. So we look forward for the same guidance and mentorship from your good self, sir. So thank you very much, please. So my heartfelt thank you to you, sir, as well for making such a elaborated presentation and giving us an idea what this Pathfinder group is and how you are going to conduct for the today's session, sir. Sir, Civil Service Academy has been there now since 1973, and we have two campuses. One is at Mal, which is called the PS campus, sir, and the second is is a 70-acre facility at Walton, where we cater for the needs of federal government requirement for the pre-service as well as the post-service for the officers of federal government. So, sir, today the officers sitting here, they are representing all the 12 services, federal services of Pakistan. And today you will be interacting with them, and you will see that how we have groomed them and how good they are in their personal capacity as well as professional capacity. Sir, here I would like to present the case of Civil Service Academy. The last 3 years have been a transformational journey for Civil Services Academy itself. So from an inwards looking organization, from a closed organization, it transformed into an outwards looking organization, sir. So at Civil Services Academy, we believe that the knowledge is our main capital, and we identify ourselves as knowledge-based organization where we receive these knowledge workers, we harness them and convert them into knowledge professionals, and then thereafter knowledge managers. And sir, this approach has brought us here today, sir, because as a hallmark of our training principle is that, sir, we are engaged in networking, and we are interacting only with the organizations and the individuals which we consider are better than us, sir. And what else to start with the Pathfinder group, sir, which has its footprint all across the country, almost 75 cities you cover, sir, in the country. And you have a huge, I've been reading your so documents, and you called it a family, and you have around 12,000 workforce, sir. So, sir, hats off to you, sir. We will be learning the organizational behavior from yourself, sir, as well as, sir, that how we can grow further. And sir, when I talk about a better individuals, and then, sir, there is no other a better role model than your good self, sir. 80 years of 80 years of service, sir, Pakistan Army, then here, then Bangladesh, and you have seen, sir, lows, you have seen, sir, highs, and you are here, and now you're again seeing the history reviving itself, sir, and we are very grateful to you, sir, and we'll be here all day long, and if there are any questions, my faculty, they are all available, 12 of them are here, sir, and once again, sir, thank you from myself, and thank you from the Director General Civil Service Academy. Sir, one more thing which I would like to say that, as you know, that Director General Civil Service Academy has been conferred by a Sitara Imtiaz from Government of Pakistan. So I congratulate you all, and I congratulate all. And I would like to congratulate all the faculty, because it is not just his pride, but it is also something that we share, because we together, it's a credit which it's a testament that the Civil Services Academy has gained. So thank you very much, sir. We are really grateful to you for your kindness, for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for those introductory remarks and for representing the Civil Services Academy so well. Now we turn to session on building a national innovation ecosystem. It is my honor to invite AVM retired Asad Ikram, President Pathfinder Citadel, to share his remarks. AVM Asad Ikram has been instrumental in establishing key organizations, including the Navigation Systems Department at the Advanced Engineering Research Organization, the Telecom and Marketing Department at LT Engineering Limited, and Aviation Research, Innovation and Development Initiatives at the Pakistan Aeronautical Complex. For his meritorious services over the years, he is a recipient of Sitara Imtiaz and Tamga Imtiaz. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome AVM retired Asad Ikram, President Pathfinder Citadel.
Faculty members from the Civil Services Academy, Bilal Saab, Ikram Saab, Begum Ikram, ladies and gentlemen, especially all the youngsters from the 54th Common, Assalamu alaikum. You know, what has really made me happy today is listening to the way you sang the national anthem. Thanks to Sarish, because she did give a cue to everyone. I'd like to really give you a grand clap, please. Because what usually happens is that, you know, we somehow shy away from singing the national anthem. But hats off to the Civil Services Academy. And, you know, that gives me confidence in what you said, that in the last 3 years, you have, you know, brought about a transformation. My only, you know, memory of the academy is very old, actually. 1988. I went to drop a friend there. So, anyway. So, inshallah, yes. So, over the next 15 minutes, I want to talk about something that will shape almost every file that crosses your desk over the course of your career. Innovation and ecosystem that makes it possible. You'll hear the word innovation used loosely in press releases, in slogans, in strategy documents. My goal today is to leave you with a sharper, more useful understanding of it. What it actually means, why it matters for a country, why it matters for a country's growth, where Pakistan stands today, and most importantly, what role you as public servants can play in it. This isn't an abstract or academic topic. The policies you'll write, the budgets you'll approve, and the approvals you'll sign over the next few decades will either open the door for innovation in Pakistan or quietly close it. Right. So this is what we're going to follow. First, we'll define innovation. Second, we'll look at why innovation matters for a country's growth. Third, we'll widen the lens. Innovation isn't just apps and gadgets. It spans a much wider spectrum than most people assume. Fourth, we'll talk about what makes innovation flourish, what quietly kills it. Fifth, we'll turn to Pakistan, where we stand today and where the bright spots are. And we'll close with the part that matters most for this room. What government, what you can actually do about it. So let's start by clearing up a common confusion. Invention and innovation are not the same thing, and mixing them up leads to bad policy. Invention is the act of discovery, creating something new that didn't exist before. It can be brilliant. It can also go absolutely nowhere. Patents expire in filing cabinets all the time. History is full of inventions that never make innovations. Innovation is different. It's the act of delivery, taking that new idea and successfully putting it to use at scale in a way that creates real value for money, real value for real people. It needs a market. It needs a user. It needs a business model or a delivery mechanism, or in government's case, a policy that does get implemented. Think of the steam engine. Early prototypes were invented decades before they changed the world. What actually transformed was innovation. The factory systems, the railways, the business models. that put that invention to work. Why does this distinction matter for you? Because a lot of well-intentioned government schemes stop in invention, funding a prototype, a pilot, a proof of concept, and declare victory. The harder, more important job is innovation. Getting that idea adopted, scaled, and sustained. That's the job we should be judging ourselves against. It's very important to note that innovation and GDP per capita are strongly coupled. Switzerland has a much higher GDP per capita compared to other countries, thanks to a much higher global innovation index. Countries like South Korea and China are quickly working hard to get there. We are unfortunately way behind, but this chart should keep reminding us that the core of economic well-being is innovation. So why does any of this matter for a country's growth? Look at this chart. R&D spending as a share of GDP across a set of comparator countries. South Korea sits at the top at 5.2% of GDP, the highest research intensity in the world. United States and China follow. Then look at where India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan sit, a fraction of that. Pakistan at the very bottom at just 0.2%. This isn't a coincidence. It maps almost exactly onto each country's economic trajectory. South Korea in the 1960s was one of the poorest countries on earth, poorer than many African nations at the time, dependent on foreign aid. Within a couple of generations, sustained state-backed investment in R&D and innovation, especially in electronics and semiconductors, turned it into one of the most advanced economies of the world. The lesson for anyone sitting in a finance or planning role in this is that R&D and innovation spending routinely gets treated as a discretionary cost, something you cut first when budgets tighten. The evidence says the opposite. It's one of the highest return investments a state can make in its own future. And countries that treat it that way compound the benefits for decades to come. Keep this chart in mind. We'll come back to this and see where Pakistan sits at a later stage. A few more examples to make this concrete. South Korea, as we just discussed, state-backed R&D that produce globally competitive electronics and semiconductor firms. Israel took a different path. Deep tech research culture, a lot of it originating in defense and military R&D that spun out into one of the densest startup ecosystems in the world. It's earned the name Startup Nation and has among the highest venture capital investment per capita anywhere. China leapfrogged from manufacturing into high technology through sustained, deliberate state investment. It's now the world's largest filer of patents and a global leader in electric vehicles and new technology. And notice the last row, Pakistan. We don't have to look only at faraway success stories. Our own IT and IT-enabled services hit a record $3.8 billion in exports last fiscal year, up 18% in a single year. And government is targeting $15 billion for 2030. That is an innovation success story happening in our own backyard, built on young, English-speaking, digitally skilled talent, largely without heavy state R&D spending. Imagine what's possible if we back it properly. Now let's widen the lens. When most people hear innovation, they picture an app, a gadget, a piece of technology. That's far too narrow. And it's a mistake I would ask you to specifically avoid, because it leads people to think that innovation belongs only to the IT ministry or a tech startup. Innovation spans at least 6 domains. Technological, the products and platforms most people think of. Business models, new ways of creating and capturing value, like ride hailing or mobile banking, often using existing technology in a new way. Process innovation, simply doing something faster or leaner, like a digitized customs process, for example. Social innovation, new solutions to social problems, like telehealth reaching rural areas. I was in Karachi the other day, happened to meet a company that is running a virtual hospital. Imagine a virtual hospital. They have no buildings. They just have a lot of pool of doctors on their panel. They have ambulances on their panel. They have pharmacies on their panel. And frugal or grassroots innovation, low cost, locally adapted solutions built for resource constrained settings, which is often where Pakistan's engineers often excel. And what is frugal engineering? Sorry, what is frugal innovation? Anyone in the room? Anyone? What is frugal innovation? Let me help you. Jugaad. I hope you've heard that word, right? All right. So remember, the English translation is frugal innovation. All right. The reason this matters for you specifically, public sector innovation is its own category on this list. You don't need to wait for a tech solution to walk in the door. The way you redesign a process, a form, a service delivery model is an act of innovation. So what actually determines whether innovation happens in a given country? Research and cross-country comparisons converge on a fairly consistent list of enablers and an equally consistent list of barriers. On the enabling side, quality education and strong STEM skills, because innovation ultimately runs on human capital. Access to risk capital, credit and early stage funding, strong intellectual property protection, and predictable rule of law. So innovators trust their work, won't simply be copied. Ease of doing business. Every unnecessary regulatory step is friction that kills momentum. A culture that tolerates failure, because most innovation attempts fail. Punishing failure just teaches people not to try. And close collaboration between academia, industry, and government, what's sometimes called the triple helix. On the barrier side, you'll notice it's often the mirror image. Brain drain, chronic underinvestment in R&D, red tape, limited access to finance, weak IP enforcement, and a risk-averse, hierarchical, blame-avoiding culture. I want you to sit with this last one for a second, because it's the one that government influences most directly and most invisibly through how it treats risk, delay, and failure in its own systems. Now let's turn to Pakistan specifically. Using the Global Innovation Index, look at the trend line. Pakistan improved steadily from 2020 to 2022, climbing from 107th to 87th, real measurable progress. But since then, we have slipped back down to 99th out of 139 economies in the 2025 ranking. That's a warning sign worth sitting with. Gains in this space aren't permanent. They have to be actively defended. Now look at the two numbers on the right. This is the most important slide in this whole talk. Pakistan ranks 124th in its innovation inputs, the things that go in, for example, education, infrastructure, capital, institutions. But fortunately, it ranks much better at 75th in innovation outputs, what actually comes out the other end. Now read this gap carefully. It means that Pakistani talent and Pakistani entrepreneurs are punching well above their weight, producing results despite a weak enabling environment, not because of a strong one. Imagine what our output ranking would be like if our input ranking also matched it. That gap is, in a very real sense, the opportunity sitting on the table for policy makers in this room. Now let's dwell on the bright spots for a moment, because it's important this talk doesn't come across all as doom and gloom. There's real momentum to build on. IT and IT-enabled services have grown from 2.6 billion to 3.8 billion in just 2 years, an 18% jump in the most recent year alone. That sector is now the third largest source of foreign exchange for the country. And government has set a target of $15 billion by 2030. This didn't happen by accident. It happened alongside a set of institutions that most of you will encounter or work with over your careers. The National Incubation Centers, government-backed startup incubators in major cities, Ignite, the National Technology Fund, which channels public money into R&D, tech skills and early stage startups, PSEB, the Pakistan Soft Export Board, which handles sector policy and promotion, PASHA, the industry association that represents the sector's voice in policy conversations, and a growing number of university incubators, alongside the Board of Investment and the Special Investment Facilitation Council. Know these names. You will likely interact with at least one of them at some point in your career, whether in a finance, commerce, or IT adjacent posting. So what's holding that momentum back from being even bigger? 6 things. Number 1, R&D spending, as you saw earlier, sits at just 0.16% of GDP, less than half the global average, and among the lowest in the region. Persistent brain drain. Many of our best graduates and engineers leave for better opportunities abroad. Number 3, policy inconsistency. Industry bodies like PASHA have specifically and repeatedly asked for a long-term, predictable tax and compliance regime because uncertainty is as damaging as high taxes. Number 4, limited venture and growth capital. Plenty of seed stage support exists, but startups struggle to raise money once they need to scale. And that's one of the works that Citadel does. It helps startups scale. Weak university-industry linkages. Research too often stays inside the university and never becomes a product or a company. And lastly, regulatory and bureaucratic delays, slow approvals that quietly discourage both entrepreneurship and foreign investment. Now, none of these are unfixable. Every one of them is a policy lever, not a law of nature. Which brings us to the final section. What can actually be done about it? This is the slide I would like most of you to remember, because it's written as things you can actually do, not abstract policy wishes. Fund and protect R&D. And just as importantly, shield that funding from being the first thing cut when budgets tighten across political cycles. Modernize regulation, simplify approvals, and consider regulatory sandboxes that let new technologies and business models be tested safely before full-scale rules are written. By innovation, public procurement is an enormous underused lever. Government can create early demand for local innovative solutions simply by choosing to buy them. And this is done all over the world. Invest in STEM and digital skills, building the talent pipeline from school through university. So the input side of the Global Innovation Index starts closing. Widen access to capital, grants, matching funds, and credit guarantees that de-risk lending to startups and SMEs, and deliver policy consistency, giving industry the predictable long-term rules it needs to actually plan and invest. Notice that almost none of these levers sit exclusively with any one office. They sit with finance, commerce, education, regulatory bodies, and provincial administrations, which means wherever you are eventually posted, you will likely have a hand on one of these 6 levers. Can you please change the slide? So let me leave you with one idea to carry out of this room. Innovation is not a department. It is not something that lives solely in the Ministry of IT or a single incubator or a single fund. It's a national discipline. And public servants, whichever cadre or ministry you end up in, are among its most powerful enablers. Not through grand gestures, but through the ordinary tools of your job. The policies you write, the budgets you approve, the procurements you run, and the services you redesign. 4 concrete asks as you start your careers. Number 1, champion evidence-based consistent policy over one-off schemes and photo op launches. Number 2, treat public procurement as a genuine tool for creating demand for local innovation, not just a compliance exercise. Number 3, remember that every delayed approval on your desk is somewhere a discouraged innovator. Treat turnaround time as seriously as accuracy. And lastly, see your own service delivery, however routine it feels, as a space for innovation, not merely compliance. Pakistan's innovation outputs already outperform its inputs. Close that gap. And you won't just be administrating the state, you will be building its future. An apt verse from Allama Iqbal for you to remember. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir, for this insightful talk on innovation ecosystem. And now it is my pleasure to invite a female leader to speak on skills, training, and employment. She is a former chairperson of the National Vocational and Technical Training Commission, NAVTEC, and the first woman to lead Pakistan Premier Skills Development Institution. With over 25 years of experience in the development sector, she is an internationally recognized expert in workforce development, technical and vocational education, peace building, countering violent extremism, governance, communication, and capacity building. Please welcome Ms. Gulmeena Bilal Ahmed.
Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. A very good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Let me first, at the onset, acknowledge the August gathering. Let me start with the leadership of today. The young 217, sir, 217 young officers, male and female, who will be the target of our jokes for the next 20-25 years, will be the target of our memes, will be the target of our Babu culture jokes, and will be the target of, इन्होंने कोई काम शाम नहीं करी. Let me also acknowledge the leadership here that is present. Brigadier Saab, Asad Saab, sir, my Twitter sort of leader, mentor, Banori Sahab, Madam, and Ikram Sahab. Ikram Sahab, when I was hearing, and I was also looking yesterday at the Taghmas and the Sitaras, I was wondering, Ikram Sahab ko Taghma kab milega? Ya Sitara kab milega? Then I made a mental note of asking you over coffee, because I am willing to bet कि Ikram Sahab को किसी ने offer किया होगा और Ikram Sahab ने कहा होगा कि मुझे नहीं चाहिए. Because I think the real stars, the real Taghmas, the real Sitaras that Ikram Sahab has actually curated and nurtured are not just his companies. That's the corporate part of it. Are when in this very hall on his 80th birthday a few weeks back, I saw the Pathfinder family children wearing T-shirts saying "Happy Birthday, Chairman Sahab." I think that is the real Sitara, that is the real Taghma that Mr. Sehgal, I think, values and also adores. I'm sure when you were coming here, you must have read up about Amani Bagh, about the Pathfinder group, about Mr. Ikram Sehgal. But one of the first things that comes to my mind when I think of Mr. Ikram Sehgal is the word engineer. हालांकि वो इंजीनियर नहीं है, लेकिन I always believe that he engineers bridge building. He engineers conversations between the public and the private sector, between the private corporate sector and students, and then he also engineers these conversations. I was thinking कि काश कि ये कॉन्वर्सेशन जिस तरह आज हमारी गुफ्तगू इंशाल्लाह होगी, जिस तरह दिन गुजरेगा, अभी तो फिलहाल हम आपको थोड़ा बोर कर रहे हैं बहुत से लेक्चर्स से, वो जो गुफ्तगू है वो जो है वो दे नीड टू हैपन एट वेरियस प्लेटफॉर्म्स एंड दे नीड टू हैपन ऑफ्टन, ताकि वो जो एक रंजिश है, एक गैप है between the public and the private sector, between the public, private and the corporate sector, between the public, private and the development sector, between the public, private and the media sector, that needs bridge building. I was introduced by my good friend and colleague Sehrish as the first female, also the youngest chairperson of the National Vocation Technical Training Commission. Now, Asad Saab, I had the pleasure of visiting the beautiful academy about 3 years back, and I had to explain as to what NAFTA-TC is. So let me also, who all knows, I'm sure आपके अभी इस्लामाबाद का tour अभी शुरू हो रहा है, so you must also be going to NAFTA-TC, but who all knows what NAFTA-TC is? What the National Vocational Technical Training Commission is? So one person, that's 2 people, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sir, can you tell me what NAFTA-TC is? Acha ji. That is part of the story. NAFTA-TC वो वफाकी हुकूमत का रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी है जो कि पाकिस्तान में जितनी भी आपकी टेक्निकल और वोकेशनल की तालीम और तरबियत दी जाएगी उसको रेगुलेट करेगा, जिसका मतलब है कि जिस तरह पेमरा है, पेमरा और NAFTA-TC में कोई फ़र्क नहीं है। पेमरा जो है वो आपके टीवी चैनल्स जो हैं वो रेगुलेट करता है, या PMDC है वो आपके मेडिकल स्कूल्स कॉलेजेस को जो है वो रेगुलेट करता है। इसी तरह NAFTA-TC जो है वो वफाकी हुकूमत एंड आफ्टर द 18th अमेंडमेंट जो आपके सूबाई टेफ्टाज हैं, पंजाब टेफ्टा है, सिंध टेफ्टा है, बलोचिस्तान टेफ्टा है, KP टेफ्टा है, वो उसके एफिलिएट पार्टनर्स हैं। 18वीं तरमीम से पहले सबॉर्डिनेट्स थे, अब जो है हम 18वीं तरमीम के बाद इसे कहते हैं कि वो जो है वो एफिलिएट पार्टनर्स हैं। लेकिन ये जो बशमूल इस कमरे में जो एक तासुर है कि वो सिर्फ टेक्निकल स्किल्स, प्राइमरी काम है रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी का, जिसका मतलब है कि सर्टिफिकेशन, एक्रेडिटेशन, वो सब जो है वो उसकी प्राइमरी जिम्मेदारी है। लेकिन लोगों के दिमाग में उसकी ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी और रोल जो है वो आया नहीं है। NAFTA-TC के अपने 210 जो हेडक्वार्टर्स में जो एहलकार हैं वो भी भूल चुके हैं कि हम बुनियादी तौर पर एक रेगुलेटर हैं, और सब जो है जो बहुत ज़्यादा जो पर्सन आवर्स जिस पे लग रहे हैं वो लग रहे हैं क्योंकि प्राइम मिनिस्टर स्किल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम जो कि पूरे मुल्क में चल रहा होता है फ्रॉम कश्मीर टू बाजोवर, तो उसकी कंसेप्शन, उसकी फंडिंग और उसमें जो फंडिंग के साथ जो सारे पर्क्स एंड प्रिविलेजेस होते हैं, जो जुगाड़े, सर क्या था वो असद साहब चले गए, वो जो अंग्रेजी का जो लफ्ज़ था वो सब जो है वो उसी के अंडर है। So this is what NAFTA-TC is, and I was the chairperson. I am not from any commons. मुझसे अक्सर लोग पूछते थे आप किस कॉमन की हैं, मैंने कहा जी मैं तो कॉमन नहीं हूँ, मैं तो बहुत स्पेशल हूँ। So, so I was not a bureaucrat. I was not evidently a man, and I was also not a political appointee, please. So I was appointed only as a technocrat. और 2.5 साल बाद I was asked to resign. So I stepped down. साथ ही साथ एक जो छोटी सी एक और इंट्रोडक्शन है कि आई एम ऑल्सो द चेयरपर्सन ऑफ द चाइना ग्लोबल प्रोफेशनल इंटरनेशनल सर्टिफिकेशन, यानी कि जो 98 और प्लस विथ 59,000 एफिलिएट्स जो चाइना की स्टेट ओन्ड कंपनियां हैं, उसकी सर्टिफिकेशन की आई एम द chairperson for Pakistan, for Singapore, for Malaysia and Uzbekistan. So this is what I do. ये जो कार्टून है, ये ही बुनियादी सवाल है. कुछ ममालिक हैं जो कि AI और EVs और जो है इलेक्ट्रॉनिक चिप्स वो एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं. मेरा ये मानना है, मेरी ये जाती राय है कि पाकिस्तान जो है, we as parents, we as children, we as public policy makers, we need to snap out of what I called degree illusion. जो degree delusion है, जो कि आप पाकिस्तान स्टडीज़ में आपने मास्टर्स करनी है, अंग्रेज़ी में करनी है, इस्लामियात में करनी है, भले करें, एक दफ़ा नहीं 1000 मरतबा करें, लेकिन उसकी फिर इकोनॉमिक वैल्यू एडिशन क्या है? सो मेरी और आपका जो साथ है 8-10 मिनट का, उसमें मैं एक बुनियादी आपसे एक गुजारिश, एक इल्तिजा, एक सवाल आपके सामने गोशगुजार करना चाहती हूँ कि एवरीवन विद इन द एकेडमी आउटसाइड विल टेल यू कि सरकारी मशीनरी को रन आप कैसे करते हैं, और ये बहुत ज़रूरी है, ये बहुत अहम है. एंड सो एवरीवन विल टीच यू हाउ टू पुश अ फाइल. अभी असद साहब ने भी कहा था कि टर्न अराउंड टाइम इंक्रीज करें एंड ऑल. मेरा सवाल ये है कि जब आप फाइल पुश करेंगे मुख्तलिफ डेस्क पे, but you as a young officer also have the responsibility कि आप एक नौजवान को you push up the ladder, the career ladder. और वो कैसे होगा? ये उस वक्त होगा जब ये काम करेगा. अच्छा, हमारे यहाँ जितनी भी ट्रेनिंग होती है, मुख्तलिफ PM के बैचेस आप देख लें, 76,000 and some. Then we've got summer of code programs जो कि IT के हवाले से हैं. मुख्तलिफ जितने भी प्रोग्राम्स हैं, हमारा पंगा क्या है? हम ये करते हैं कि जी अच्छा सऊदी से डिमांड आई है, शाबा जो है ड्राइवर्स जो हैं वो आप रिक्रूट करना शुरू कर दो. गल्फ उधर से आई है, सर्बिया में एक्सपो हो रहा है, कारपेंटर्स चाहिए, चलो जनाब कारपेंटर्स उठाओ, अपने सरकारी प्रोग्रामों से देखो या मार्केट से उठाएं. And we are training, we are recruiting for today. We are not recruiting, we are not looking at what the Gulf would be needing in 2028, for instance, what China would be looking at 2028. So ये एक बुनियादी जो है वो ये है कि हमारी, जब हम अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट के हवाले से बात कर रहे हैं, देखिए पाकिस्तान पे मैं फोकस बहुत ज़्यादा इसलिए भी नहीं करूँगी बिकॉज हमारे इंडस्ट्रीज जो हैं वो एक सैचुरेशन पॉइंट पे आ गए हैं, जहाँ पे अब जो है वो मुख्तलिफ वजूहात की वजह से they are not able to employ your young people in the numbers that the young people are joining the labor market. So we have to look at overseas and obviously the whole remittance debate. But अगर हम ओवरसीज के हवाले से हम बात करें तो ये जो ओवरसीज एम्प्लॉयमेंट की जब बात होती है तो जर्मनी की मिसाल दी जाती है, फिलीपींस की मिसाल दी जाती है. वो लोग जो है वो स्टार्ट करते हैं लेबर मार्केट डिमांड या लेबर मार्केट इंटेलिजेंस से. हम स्टार्ट करते हैं दूसरी उस पे कि ट्रेनिंग से शुरू करें, ट्रेनिंग करवाएं, धराधर जो है नौजवान जो हैं वो आप ट्रेन करें, उनको 3-3 महीनों में उनको जैसे तैसे करके आप तरबियत दें और फिर उनको दुआओं के साथ आप रुखसत करें अपनी ट्रेनिंग एकेडमी से बाहर कि बेटा अल्लाह करे कि तुझे नौकरी मिल जाए. तो ये होप और दुआओं से थोड़ा सा हमें मूव करना होगा और हमने पहले मेरी जो सबमिशन है आपके सामने वो ये है कि आप जब किसी जिले में जाएंगे तो आप ये देखिए कि इस जिले में कितने ऐसे नौजवान हैं जो कि एम्प्लॉयबल हैं और उसको मैं किस तरह उनकी ट्रेनिंग डाइवर्सिफाई कर सकता हूं based on the demand, the today's demand, as well as most importantly the forecasted demand. Then you train, do the value addition in terms of practical skills, and very very important, international certification. उस दिन पिछले हफ्ते सेक्रेटरी ओवरसीज, आई एम श्योर यू विल आल्सो गो देयर, उनसे गुफ्तगू हो रही थी तो वो मुझे कह रहे थे, मैडम इंटरनेशनल सर्टिफिकेशन कोई बंदिश नहीं है नौकरी, ओवरसीज नौकरी के लिए, क्योंकि जो है अब ड्राइवर है या लेबरर है उसको कौन सी इंटरनेशनल सर्टिफिकेशन की ज़रूरत है, कारपेंटर है किसको क्या ज़रूरत है, ज़रूरत है कारपेंट्री की इंटरनेशनल सर्टिफिकेशन है, जो कि हमने NAFTA-TC में हमने इंट्रोड्यूस भी करवाई है, बट इट नीड्स टू बी स्केल्ड अप. और देखिए ये वही वाली बात है कि मैंने मास्टर्स किया हुआ हो इम्तियाज़ एंड सन्स कॉलेज से, और मैंने मास्टर्स किया हुआ हो कॉर्नेल से, तो मुझे बताएं ना, अगर आप मुझसे मिले ना हो तो does the name create a difference or not? So you see, so there is an automatic by the employer, by the headhunter, there's an automatic understanding कि यार अगर ये स्टैनफोर्ड, कॉर्नेल या अगर वो सिटी एंड गिल्ड सर्टिफिकेशन या हाईफील्ड की हॉस्पिटैलिटी की, फ्रंट डेस्क मैनेजमेंट की, हाउसकीपिंग की सर्टिफिकेशन के साथ गुलमीना आ रही है, सो मुझे ये पता है कि इतने क्रेडिट आज इसकी थ्योरी में ये कवर हुआ होगा, इतना प्रैक्टिकल हुआ होगा. हमारे जो पाकिस्तान में जो सर्टिफिकेशन, अगर हम सिर्फ लोकल सर्टिफिकेशन में हम बात करें तो आर सर्टिफिकेशन इज नॉट स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड, इज नॉट बेंचमार्क्ड अगेंस्ट a certain quality benchmark. So we have to, so that is where our people suffer. और सफ़र जब हम बात कर रहे थे, अभी इधर सर ने, असद साहब ने भी बात की ब्रेन ड्रेन की, मैं थोड़ा सा अनपैक, और हम अक्सर जो है ब्रेन ड्रेन की हम बात करते हैं, मैं ये चाह रही थी कि ब्रेन ड्रेन को मैं थोड़ा सा अनपैक करूं. ये ब्यूरो ऑफ ओवरसीज इमिग्रेशन की ऑफिशियल 2024 के फिगर्स हैं. हाईली क्वालिफाइड जो है वो 2.7% गए हैं. Highly of the 2.7% of the entire brain drain. 4% highly skilled है, skilled जो है वो 35% है, और unskilled is 50.3. 50.3. तो ये जो brain drain है ये तो 50% तो आपकी unskilled है. अब इनको आप certify करवाएं तो they will bring more money for themselves and their families. जो अभी हम बात कर रहे थे, जो लोग एक्चुअली 2024 में जो गए हैं, प्राइमरीली जो सिंगल 2 कैटेगरियां हैं वो ड्राइवर्स की हैं और लेबरर्स की हैं. सो दे सिंगली मेक 75% ऑफ द ब्रेन ड्रेन. सो do you, I mean, there's nothing wrong being a driver or being a laborer, but I ask you, when you look at the economic mobility of the individual or of the country, is this really a figure that we are comfortable with? और इसमें again सर्टिफिकेशन क्यों ज़रूरी है? सर्टिफिकेशन इसलिए ज़रूरी है क्योंकि आपका सिलेबस, व्हेन आई वाज एट NAFTA-TC, मैंने 2011 से सिलेबस जो है वो अपडेट किया, एंड आई वाज ओनली एबल टू ब्रिंग इट टिल जुलाई 2024, बिकॉज यहाँ पे syllabus upgradation is also a lengthy process, but also a process in which we do not have local subject experts to look at. I have a lot of focus, I put a lot of focus on international sort of employability, because that is at the end of the day where the money is being brought in. And to be honest, anecdotally between you and I feel that this is the only export that we currently have, exporting young people. And but the young people need to bring in that value addition. Domestic employment, and that is again where I feel that sittings like these are very, very important because we can actually talk directly from your platform, from this platform, through your voices with the industrial associations, with the small traders. I've already spoken about the mismatch problem. I've also gotten a chit to conclude very, very rapidly. So I'm sort of, going through the figures very, very quickly. I would like to ask a simple question. If I give you 1 billion Pakistani rupees and I say, is there anyone who's here from Kashmir? आप हैं कश्मीर से? अच्छा, कश्मीर में किस इलाके से हैं? अच्छा जी, मुझे आप ये बताएं, अगर मैं आपको 1 बिलियन दे दूं रुपए और मैं आपको बोलूंगी कि आपके अपने इलाके के नौजवानों के लिए आप कुछ करें, so what would you do?
The first and foremost will be about the installation of the industries.
Installation of the industries.
Yes, sir.
Okay, does anyone disagree with that? Sir, this is the issue. This is exactly the skill mismatch problem. There's a website called skillingpakistan.gov.pk. It is a government website which I got done while I was at NAFTTC. मेरे पास बड़े अच्छे well-meaning लोग आते थे और मुझे कहते थे कि हम अपने इलाके में जो है वो ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट खोलना चाहते हैं. मेरा हमेशा उनको जवाब होता था, खुदारा ना कीजिएगा. Because at skillingpakistan.gov.pk you will see, you get a whole Pakistan का X-ray in terms of district, जो आपकी district profile. कोई ऐसा जिला नहीं है हजूर जहां पे टेक्निकल इंस्टीट्यूट मौजूद नहीं है. बच्चों के भी है, बच्चियों के भी हैं, को एजुकेशन भी हैं, but not a single one of them, including one in Lahore, including one in Karachi, is not running to its full capacity. So we, rather than building something, we need to do what Mr. Sehgal does, and that is build bridges between the silos that we all operate in and work together. Forecasting, I've already spoken of. पाकिस्तान की इकोनॉमी पे रक्शे वाले से लेकर पीएम साहब तक आप गुफ्तगू करवा लें, लेकिन हमेशा बात होती है आज की या आने वाले कल की. I am interested in 5 days from now on, from 10 years from now on, what is Serbia going to do? What is Bulgaria in need of? I had the ambassador of Tajikistan ask for 600 Urdu teachers. This is a demand that no OEP will give you. Certification, I've already spoken of. The international certification. As young officers, when you look at your districts, also understand that पूरा पाकिस्तान जो है उसको स्किलिंग जो है वो एक जेनेरिक स्किल की जरूरत नहीं है. There are various. So Sialkot, Lahore would be different in the skills that they are needed. Gujranwala would be different in the skills that you can export. We need to have a nuanced sort of understanding of what employment and our unemployment figures are. I will leave you with one figure. I started with degree delusion. I'm going to end with degree delusion. Hukumat ki sarkari figures hain, these are not my figures. People who have university degrees, master's degrees, उनकी अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट जो है यूनिवर्सिटी डिग्री होल्डर्स की 21.8% है. इसमें अगर आप मेल और फीमेल करें सो द फिगर गेट्स मोर डिसमल. रादर देन ओनली परसुइंग डिग्रीज जो कि आप अपनी दफातर की दीवारों पे चस्पा करें, आप जब आप जिलों में जाएं, अपने एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव डिपार्टमेंट्स मिनिस्ट्रीज में जाएं, आई आस्क यू टू थिंक ऑफ वन क्वेश्चन. व्हाट वैल्यू एडिशन in terms of today's economy, tomorrow's economy, and day after's economy I can do by imparting by creating an ecosystem and a level playing field for different kinds of skills. I will end by saying that we all live in the CV send karo culture. आपका बच्चा है, आपको उसको नौकरी नहीं मिल रही, यूनिवर्सिटी ग्रेजुएट है, you tell me, I will not have the heart to tell you कि that degree is useless. I will only say CV send कर दें बच्चों की. We have to move away from this elitist concept about education and think of vocational training, vocational education as value additions for our economies. Thank you.
Now it is my honor to invite Mr. Azam Jamil, Special Advisor to the CEO of Hashu Group, to share his remarks on leadership in an age of transformation. He is a seasoned hospitality, tourism, and management professional with over 44 years of experience across the hospitality, tourism, marketing, operations, training, and development sectors. Please welcome Azam Jamil, sir.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी मिस्टर इकराम सहगल विद योर परमिशन सर दो सवाल है एक तो आप मेरे साथ कहाँ फंस गए और दूसरा मैं आपके साथ कहाँ फंस गया so I'm just going to start by requesting everybody, can you please make a cup like this? Okay, good. And when I say 3, I want everybody to touch the cup to their cheek. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Put your hands down and explain to me, when was the last time your cheek was here? Okay, so here's the lesson. CSP कर लिया? Okay, so why did I make you do this? This is a lesson. People will not listen to you. They will only watch you. And how you lead your life, people will be watching. दरस बंद कर दो. दरस से काम नहीं चलना. What you are is what you are. मैं पाकिस्तान का एक कॉर्पोरेट ट्रेनर हूं और आपको पता है मुझे सबसे ज्यादा ट्रेनिंग की रिक्वायरमेंट किस सब्जेक्ट पे आती है? लीडरशिप पे, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट मैनेजमेंट पे, टीम वर्क पे, कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स पे. There should be zero demand for this. I should be starving to death. मैंने कम्युनिकेशन सिखानी है, मैंने कॉन्फ्लिक्ट मैनेज सिखानी है, घर से नहीं सीख के आए. ये तालीम का हिस्सा नहीं है बच्चों, ये तरबियत का हिस्सा है. कहां चल पड़े हो? कॉन्फ्लिक्ट मैनेजमेंट मैंने सिखानी है. जब दादी अम्मा कहती थी कि जब कोई बोल रहा है तो विच ना बक बक करया कर, नहीं सुनी ना दादी की. आजम जमील टाई पहन के आ जाएगा तो सब कहेंगे क्या जबरदस्त ट्रेनर है. आज से 55 वर्ष पहले मैंने बीए किया. बड़ी जबरदस्त चीज होती थी उस जमाने में. तो जब मैं बीए का इम्तिहान दे के घर आया तो आगे मेरे वाले साहब के साथ फैज साहब बैठे थे. डैडी के बहुत दोस्त थे. तो फैज साहब ने मुझे कहा कहां से आ रहे हो? तो मैंने कहा जी बीए का फाइनल इम्तिहान दे के आ रहा हूं. तो कहने लगे उर्दू अदब पढ़ी है? मैंने कहा जी नहीं. कहते अच्छा अनपढ़ हो. और बिल्कुल सही कहा उन्होंने. लेकिन आज फैज साहब खुश होंगे कि एक अनपढ़ सीएसपी ऑफिसर्स को सिखा रहा है. You will never know when you become a leader. Never. Nobody will tell you. People will feel your leadership. आपके टाइटल के साथ कभी लीडर का लफ्ज कभी नहीं लिखा जाएगा. मुझे 55 बरस हो गए नौकरी करते हुए, मेरे नाम के साथ कभी लीडर ना लगा है ना लगेगा. It is not a collection of skills. It's a collection of habits. Because management will always be what you do, and leadership is simply who you are. हो क्या? क्या लेके आए हो घर से? कम्युनिकेशन किसी और ने सिखानी है? कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, लड़ाई झगड़ा किसी और ने सिखाना है कि ये बुरा काम है, ये नहीं करना? मैंने I didn't want this to be a very sarkari. The compass was invented 1700 years before the watch. 1700 years before the watch. Your direction is a lot more important than your time. Stop looking at the watch. ये तो एक टूल है. फोकस क्या है? डायरेक्शन क्या है? कहां देख रहे हो? और ऑरेंज को अगर दबाओ ना तो अंदर से क्या निकलता है? ऑरेंज जूस निकलता है ना. शाम को भी दबाओगे तो ऑरेंज जूस निकलेगा, कल भी दबाओगे. अब वो ऑरेंज जूस वहां से क्यों निकलता है? क्योंकि वो अंदर मौजूद था. सो लाइफ विल प्रेस यू टुमारो, एंड इफ लाइफ स्क्वीजेस यू टुमारो, अंदर से क्या निकलेगा? गुस्सा, तकब्बुर, रिवेंज, ये निकलेगा, या आजिज़ी निकलेगी, मोहब्बत निकलेगा, प्यार निकलेगा. जो अंदर है वो ही निकलेगा. स्टॉप ब्लेमिंग अदर पीपल फॉर व्हाट यू आर. व्हाट यू हैव इनसाइड यू विल कम आउट. इफ यू हैव काइंडनेस इनसाइड ऑफ यू, काइंडनेस विल कम आउट. हाँ, यू कैन से कि यार उसने मुझे गाली दी है, जरूर गाली दी होगी. उस गाली से क्या हुआ? वो चीज निकली जो वहां पहले से मौजूद थी. The biggest mistake your generation is making is you think that every problem lies outside of you. आपने हर प्रॉब्लम के लिए कोई बंदा आइडेंटिफाई किया हुआ है, या बंदी आइडेंटिफाई की हुई है, या निजाम आइडेंटिफाई किया हुआ है. और मैं तंग आ चुका हूं ये सुन सुन के कि जी पाकिस्तान में मेरिट नहीं है तो सिस्टम नहीं है. नहीं है जी, मान लिया, हुण दसो की करना? अपनी जिंदगी खराब करनी है, या ये कहना है कि इसके बावजूद मैंने कुछ करना है? हाउ लॉन्ग विल यू क्राई, एंड विल इट मेक एनी डिफरेंस टू योर लाइफ बाय क्राइंग? मैंने जो भी अचीव किया, और मुझे बहुत खुशी होती है कि सहगल साहब मेरी यूनिवर्सिटी का बैनर यहां लगाते हैं, और बट आई हैव अचीव्ड व्हाटएवर लिटिल आई हैव अचीव्ड, not because all these negative things were absent in my life. I achieved them despite these negative things, and that's the challenge you have to face. और इस चीज का वेट नहीं करना. बेटा आपका क्या नाम है? नहीं, जो पीछे यहां, हाँ, क्या नाम है आपका? अली इमरान. अच्छा, यू नो व्हाट अली इमरान इज वेटिंग फॉर? अ नॉक ऑन द डोर. अली साहब बाहर आ जाएं, पाकिस्तान ठीक हो गया. दैट्स नॉट हैपनिंग, बिकॉज पाकिस्तान ठीक करने वाले अंदर बैठे हुए हैं. And yes, we criticize this country 24/7. When was the last time you guys picked up a plastic shopper and put it in a dustbin? Yes. एकदम गुस्से चढ़ जाते हैं. Well done. Because you have to contribute to this country. You are the 20% who can. मैं उस मजदूर से पूछूं जिसको ये नहीं पता कि रात को उसके बच्चे भूखे सोएंगे कि नहीं. और then 23rd March shows up. And when 23rd March shows up, around the 10th, 11th of March, ये जितने मेरे शहजादे और शहजादियां, you know what they're doing? They're saying, check कर वीकेंड दे नाल आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा. और अगर ये 23 मार्च संडे को आ जाए तो पाकिस्तान में 23-24 करोड़ मनहूस शक्लें देखनी हो। क्यों जी? एक ही छुट्टी थी जी, बर्बाद हो गई। और अगर 23 मार्च मंडे को आ जाए, जीवे जीवे ऐसे आना, उधर से राय हक के शहीद वहां से गुजरेंगे, वहां से जो पुत्र हटाते नहीं बिकते वो वहां से आ जाएंगे और मौज मेला शुरू हो जाएगा। क्यों? क्योंकि ये मंडे को आ गया। ये ना करना। मैं एक जमाने में, हंसना नहीं है, मैं एक जमाने में वफाकी वजीर बन गया। अच्छा, और मुझे इजी इसलिए नहीं लेना कि मैं 6 साल पाकिस्तान टीम में टेनिस में खेला हूं, मैंने ग्रीन जैकेट पहनी है और यहां चांद सितारे में पाकिस्तान लिखा हुआ। मुझे इजी इसलिए भी नहीं लेना कि मैं प्रोफेशनल म्यूजिशियन हूं, जुनैद जमशेद को म्यूजिक मैंने सिखाया। तो महकमा मरासियात से भी मेरा बड़ा ताल्लुक है। तो मैंने बहुत सारे काम किए, बस गोइंग। तो इट्स इन योर हैंड्स। एक छोटा सा मैं किस्सा सुनाता हूं। एक गांव में बाबा था, उसको बच्चे पसंद नहीं करते थे, और पसंद इसलिए नहीं करते थे कि बाबे को हर सवाल का जवाब आता था। पीपल डोंट लाइक पीपल हु हैव द आंसर्स टू ऑल द क्वेश्चंस। तो उन्होंने कहा यार बाबे को पकड़ना है, और बड़ी अच्छी स्कीम बनाई। एक छोटे से चिड़िया का बच्चा लेके आए और उन्होंने कहा कि इस चिड़िया के बच्चे को यूं हाथ में रखते हैं और बाबे से पूछेंगे, इफ यू आर दिस क्लेवर टेल अस, इज दिस बर्ड डेड और अलाइव? और अगर वो अलाइव कहेगा तो हमने हाथ दबाना है और उसको मार देना है, और वो झूठा और हम सच्चे। और अगर वो कहेगा ये डेड है तो हमने उसको छोड़ देना है, बाबा फिर झूठा हम सच्चे। तो दोनों सूरतों में हमारी जीत। तो बड़ी मुश्किलों से चिड़िया लेके आए, बड़ी मुश्किल से बाबा ढूंढा और कहा, इफ यू आर दिस स्मार्ट एंड क्लेवर एंड इंटेलिजेंट, टेल अस, इज दिस बर्ड डेड और अलाइव? एंड यू नो व्हाट ही सेड? He said, it's in your hands. So, ये जो मेरा मुल्क है, it's in your hands. खुश रहो।
And now I would like to invite you all for a tea break, and we will reconvene after 25 minutes, please.